Tonight on CTV News at 6. They are facing serious charges. 4 people are arrested in North Bay and charged in connection with the murder of a man. Mourning her loss.
I don't even have the words to describe what it's like.
A young Sudbury woman died while on vacation. An extended ship loading system.
And then will allow us to do live loading of ships, the Great Lakes freighters, as they come in.
Canada is investing millions in green shipping corridors east of Sault Ste. Marie.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Join us on this Friday. 4 people have been arrested in North Bay in connection to a murder investigation. Last month, police found human remains in the Mulligan Street area, later confirming the body was that of a man who had been reported missing January 30th. Police have charged a 50-year-old woman and a 19-year-old man with first-degree murder, indignity to a dead body, and several other offenses. 2 other men have also been charged in connection to the homicide. Family and friends are grieving after a young woman from Greater Sudbury died while on vacation. They say the devastation of that loss is lessened by the outpouring of support they've received. More now from CTV's Angela Gemmell.
Brooke Morneau loved pink Starbucks drinks, Taylor Swift music, being a nurse, and her fiancé, Devin.
There's a lot of great characteristics there that we can unpack, but the main one is she was so caring and kind to everyone she met.
The 24-year-old's life was cut short when she died unexpectedly while on vacation in Dominican Republic. She'd been traveling with her fiancé and his family to celebrate his mom's birthday.
It actually was a nice day. It's too bad. Like, it's all shadowed now by what happened.
The Gavins say last Friday evening at the resort, Brooke said she felt off and went to bed. The next morning, she woke up vomiting and continued to feel ill. She and Devin went to see the medic at the resort, who called for an ambulance to take her to the hospital. That's where she died on Sunday.
We thought she would be fine, like she was doing very well until she wasn't. And then the next day she did unfortunately pass away.
The Gavins say the situation was made even worse by the language barrier of the hospital staff, who only spoke Spanish. Now the family is left with unanswered questions like, what made this vibrant 24-year-old so sick?
I don't even have the words to describe what it's like, but say it's very awful to feel that way and to lose someone so quickly, someone so special to me.
In an email, her family says they weren't up to an interview due to the extremely devastating trauma of everything that happened, saying Brooke was deeply loved and they're heartbroken by the loss. After the death, Devin's brother started a GoFundMe to help pay to bring her body home to Canada, as well as the funeral and other expenses. The response has been overwhelming.
It brings some comfort in a time that comfort is very much needed, and it's heartwarming, really. There's so much gratitude, it's hard to express it.
Touched by the community support and across Canada, really.
Brooke was a nurse at Health Sciences North, where they've lowered the flag to half-mast in her honor. Funeral arrangements aren't yet complete, as the family is still waiting for her body to be returned to Canada. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Parents of 2 former U18 AAA hockey players in Timmins say their sons were subjected to hazing, bullying, and sexual assault while playing for the Timmins Majors. The families reported what they described as a continuing pattern of abuse towards their kids in January to Hockey Canada's independent third party, which investigates these types of allegations. The families say they've not heard back and have since reached out to the Children's Aid Society and Timmins Police about the locker room culture. A lawyer representing the Timmins Majors says the team takes all matters related to player safety extremely seriously, but said he couldn't comment on the incident because of the confidentiality of minors. You can read the full story on our website, CTV News Northern Ontario.ca. In North Bay, the provincial government provided an update today on the Ontario Northlander. CTV's Madison Merrier was there.
Politicians shared their excitement on the latest update about transportation in the north.
Our government has invested $138 million to acquire 205 kilometers of railway with the purchase of the Newmarket Rail subdivision between North Bay and Washego.
The 205-kilometer stretch was previously owned by CN Rail, but with the acquisition, the province aims to ensure more secure and reliable transportation throughout Northern Ontario.
There were concerns about reliability and scheduling and some challenges that way. Part of the concern was that interplay of freight rail and passenger rail. So with the province owning this chunk of rail, we have control over those schedules. We can prioritize the passenger rail, and we can make the freight rail more efficient at the same time.
The Northlander will be back on the rails in Northern Ontario after the McGuinty government cancelled it in 2012.
With ONTC owning this line, we can take opportunities to work with them, with our local businesses, to see how it can all integrate and ultimately expand business and grow jobs.
You'll see when the train cars get here and begin operation, you'll see the addition of dozens of employees. There'll be a more accurate number come out in the near future. But if you go into the Ontario Northland facility, it's just booming.
However, there is still more work that needs to be done before the train hits the track.
Once all the commissioning and testing is done, it'll be later this year that we're confident we'll be in service with it.
Madison Marier, CTV News, North Bay.
The largest employer in Bruce Mines near Sault Ste. Marie is working on a project to make shipping trap rock more environmentally friendly. Today, Canada's Minister of Transportation announced millions for the initiative. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has more.
It's the off-season at the Ontario Trap Rock Quarry in Bruce Mines, except for some work being done thanks to a $6.4 million investment from the federal government.
What this is allowing us to do is to build a 2-kilometer-long conveyor system to move the stone from the quarry down to the dock, which is on the other side of Highway 17, and then will allow us to do live loading of ships, the Great Lakes freighters, as they come in, as opposed to now, where we have to stockpile material on the dock and then ship it out.
This money comes from Canada's Green Shipping Corridors program, but with trap rock typically being used for railway ballast, asphalt, and concrete, it aligns with other government plans.
Think of all the highways, think of all the transit that we're building, think of all the rail that we're building right across this country from east to west. This is at the very base of everything that we need to accomplish as a country.
The environmental benefits for the project are twofold. Not only will the conveyor negate the number of diesel trucks heading back and forth from quarry to port, but it makes use of a marine shipping system where one ship can move the same amount of aggregate as 301 rail cars or 964 trucks.
If we use boats and we use our geographical location, which we are, the hub of the Great Lakes, the markets that Bruce Mines can access are unlimited, because not only in Canada, they can also access the American market.
Without rock trucks constantly crossing the highway, there's believed to be added safety benefits as well.
There are people that speed through town, are not going the speed limit, and they could very easily come up on a truck that has just started to pull out. So by going underneath the highway, definite improvement.
The conveyor should be operational by the summer. Officials expect the new system will increase output volumes by 25% and lead to hiring. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Bruce Mines.
Now to the weather, and it's snowing in parts of our region. How long will this last? To tell us more, here's CTV's Rick Wyman.
How about Tuesday, Tony? We've got a major storm as issued by Environment Canada. Major storm warning, of course, and the storm in effect beginning late Sunday and continuing into Tuesday. This is the system that we'll see come Sunday at about 5, 6 o'clock. Trudy Kidd from Environment Canada was telling me earlier it's Colorado low now starting to develop anywhere from 40 to 60 centimeters of snow. That snow path will start on Superior through the Sault up to Timmins. Meanwhile, Highway 17 beginning from Manitoulin Island. A lot of rain, freezing rain and ice accumulation. Strong winds, 80 kilometers per hour, so snow and blowing snow. And again, this will last past Monday into Tuesday. So again, this is what we can expect beginning late Sunday. Let's take a look at our systems map, courtesy of Environment Canada. And again, we've got some snow coming up. And again, we'll get into further details with our currents and our lovely 7-day forecast. And you'll just really appreciate the pick of the day from Chapleau. That's coming up a little bit later on this hour. Tony, back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. The Ford government is facing backlash. Still to come on CTV News at 6. The Premier wants to keep some records safe. First, let's go to downtown Timmins, and this live webcam is courtesy of that city. It's -8 degrees. We're back after this commercial break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
5 people are facing charges following the search of a home in Wikwemikong Wednesday night. Wikwemikong tribal police say they found cocaine and cash as part of the operation. One man, who had previously been given a trespass notice from band council, was also reportedly found in possession of a replica handgun. Sudbury's 2 NDP MPPs have issued an open letter to the Minister of Transportation about Highway 69, citing this comment made by the Premier last July.
Ever went from Sudbury down to the city? Like that 2-lane? That was like white-knuckled driving down there, and like it transport's off by 2 inches and you're done. So we made an agreement with 3 First Nations communities. We've bought their piece of property, so we're going to be twinning that, which we made the announcement. So.
Earlier this week, however, Magnetawan First Nation called out what it said was provincial inaction for stalling the 4-lane expansion of the highway, adding Ontario must address its land claim first. In their open letter, Jamie West and Franck Jelena say they're looking for timelines on the start and completion of the 4-laning. They want to know the status of consultations with Magnetawan, Henvey Inlet and Shawanaga, how many meetings on the project have happened in the past 3 years, and the possibility of scheduling regular updates for their constituents. Today in Sudbury, the province welcomed Ontario Mine Rescue to the Ontario Core. It's the province's newest partner as it builds a network to protect communities during emergencies and natural disasters. CTV's Alan Everson has more.
The Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response signs a Memorandum of Understanding with Ontario Mine Rescue at the agency's head office in Sudbury.
Well, we're seeing the frequency as well of some of these emergencies or disasters happening in areas. So we want to have that coordinated approach that when a municipality reaches out to the Provincial Emergency Operations Centre, we're able to coordinate from the top up to provide those additional supports to help build the capacity in communities.
We have our mine rescue stations set up in 9 different communities across the province. So from Windsor, Ontario, right to Red Lake, Ontario. And we train just over 1,200 mine rescue volunteers annually.
The Ontario Core was formed in 2024 and is creating a network of partners and volunteers ready to respond to local emergencies and quickly deploy critical resources.
Seeing in our country, a lot of things changing. Everything from climate change is leading to events like the minister spoke about a huge ice storm in her community last year, and we also have some geopolitical instability. So we don't know what the world brings tomorrow.
As we go around the north, we know the distances, so we know the collaboration between this and all our small communities, what it means to everyone when we know that if there is a disaster in your area or a weather event, that there's going to be help coming, and we share that responsibility.
Ontario Mine Rescue says its responders are trained to operate in conditions where visibility is low. Hazards are complex, and decisions need to be made quickly and safely. By connecting with Ontario Core, it's extending this expertise beyond mine sites. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
The Ford government is introducing legislation which would exclude documents from the Office of the Premier, his cabinet and parliamentary assistants from freedom of information requests. Critics say the move is making decision-making less transparent. CTV's Siobhan Morris has more.
It's a shift in Ontario's freedom of information law that will keep more records and decisions in darkness. The government says it's modernizing 40-year-old legislation that doesn't reflect how people connect.
We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cloud computing. We didn't have even email. Email was very new at the time.
A bill to be introduced this spring would mean records from the Premier, cabinet ministers, parliamentary assistants, and their offices wouldn't be available to journalists or members of the public. That covers virtually all progressive Conservative MPPs and their staff.
This government has probably been one of the most transparent governments in the history of Ontario.
The leader of the opposition sees this quite a different way.
This is I'll start by saying that.
Unconvinced by the government's rationale.
No government is going to shut down freedom of information laws unless they're trying to hide something.
The changes a new challenge to get answers.
This shows that Doug Ford is only trying to protect himself and his government.
The plan is to apply the eventual law retroactively. That could hit requests already in the pipeline.
You call myself on my cell phone number.
There's a multi-year fight to peek into the personal phone the Premier uses for work.
I'm quite certain that the litigation will be moot because we won't be able to get the Premier's phone records. So, the timing is very interesting. It does seem as though the Premier has a personal interest in this legislation.
The fact that Ontario says it's lining up laws with other provinces and the federal government
does not justify the Ford government adding an excessive secrecy loophole and layer of secrecy that will lead to even more corruption, waste of the public's money, and abuses of power.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Back now for a check on the current conditions with Rick.
This is the system that everyone's talking about come late Sunday, early Monday. Major snowstorm and, of course, some freezing rain, some freezing drizzle, and lots of accumulation there as well. We'll get to that in the 7-day forecast, but first let's have a look at your current temperatures to kickstart your weekend. Moosonee, the only place in the Northeast right now with loads of sunshine, -15. Cochrane, cloud cover, -8. Timmins, the clouds, -8. Mainly cloudy Kapuskasing, -7 this hour. Chapleau, some light precipitation, -7. Wawa, -5 with the clouds. A light precipitation in Sault Ste. Marie. A lot of precipitation over the course of today with that snow and more. -2 in Parry Sound with the light snow. Meanwhile, North Bay, more light snow, -5. Temiskaming Shores, -5. And Kirkland Lake, -6. That wind's not helping the situation either with that light blowing snow. -4 Greater Sudbury this hour, -3 in Espanola, -4 in Elliott Lake. They've had their fair share of snow, and now they're moving on. -3 Gore Bay, beautiful Manitoulin Island, and more snow coming up a little bit later on, between 10 and 15 centimeters of snow. So Gore Bay, be on the lookout for that. 7-day forecast coming up.
Thanks, Rick. Iran strikes back. Next on CTV News at 6, countries shoot down Iranian missiles and drones as the war drags on. And Prime Minister Carney reacts as sanctions are eased on Russia's oil. The conflict in the Middle East, now in its 14th day, is showing no signs of slowing down. The U.S. and Israel are pounding Iran, while Iran still capable of attacking its neighbors, causing havoc in the Strait of Hormuz. CTV's Heather Wright has the latest.
What appears to be a projectile streaks across the sky near Incirlik Air Base in southern Turkey. NATO confirming a missile from Iran bound for Turkey was intercepted today, the third such interception since the war began.
It sounds crazy because, normally Iran is a semi-ally to Turkey. So that was surprising to see. But, war is crazy.
Turkish authorities have not said what the target was, but U.S. and NATO troops are stationed at Incirlik. In Istanbul, the mood is calm, but there is worry the war could spread.
They are trying to involve other countries too, and so maybe there will be something, but I'm hoping it won't be anything bad.
Today, the United States confirmed a refueling plane, similar to the one seen here, crashed in western Iraq, killing all 6 crew members. U.S. Central Command says the crash was not caused by hostile or friendly fire and is under investigation. In Tehran, smoke can be seen rising as thousands gathered to mark Al-Quds Day, one of many rallies across the country. People are not afraid of these attacks, the head of the judiciary said, vowing Iran won't back down. While Iran has been battered by U.S. and Israeli bombardment, it continues to strike its neighbors, with thick black smoke seen rising from Dubai's financial district today. In northern Israel, Iran's proxy Hezbollah fired hundreds of rockets overnight, injuring dozens, including a number of children. Israel continues to hit Beirut and its suburbs, with the death toll in Lebanon at nearly 700, according to the health ministry. Today, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres visited Lebanon and called for an immediate ceasefire.
Lebanon was dragged into a war that is not a war that its people would be willing to have.
The exact death toll of this conflict is still not clear, but government officials and UN agencies believe as many as 2,000 people have been killed and millions displaced, the majority in Iran and Lebanon. Heather Wright, CTV News, Istanbul.
In Europe, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron today. Zelensky is trying to shore up support from France, one of Ukraine's key allies in its war with Russia. The conflict in the Middle East is diverting attention away from Ukraine and is raising questions about the supply of weapons that are available to Ukraine 4 years into Russia's invasion. As Prime Minister Mark Carney was speaking with the Prime Minister of Norway and the Chancellor of Germany, all three leaders said the world cannot let up the pressure on Russia, especially given President Trump's decision to ease sanctions on Russian oil.
Canada's position is to maintain sanctions on Russia, maintain sanctions including on the Shadow Fleet, which is moving this oil. You know, there's been very tight cooperation between Russia and Iran at great cost to the people of Ukraine and a great threat to peace and security in Europe.
The Prime Minister is in Norway today observing a military demonstration as part of NATO's exercise Cold Response. 25,000 troops are taking part in the joint NATO exercises aimed at enhancing the alliance's military abilities in the Arctic. The Prime Minister also met with the Prime Minister of Norway and the Chancellor of Germany. He'll travel next to the United Kingdom, where he'll meet with King Charles and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. To the U.S. now, where Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer said today that she stands with the Jewish community in the state and urged a strong stand against anti-Semitism. This comes after yesterday's ramming and shooting at the Temple Israel synagogue near Detroit.
It was hate, plain and simple. We will fight this ancient and rampant evil. We will stand together as we do it, and we will call it out. We must lower the rhetoric in this state and in this country, especially at this moment where we have seen such a rise in anti-Semitism and more attacks on the Jewish community.
And Whitmer also thanked the synagogue security personnel who put themselves in harm's way when they fatally shot the suspect to prevent potential tragedy. He has been identified as a 41-year-old naturalized citizen born in Lebanon. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
This is what I'm talking about when we're talking about storms coming up beginning late Sunday afternoon, evening, rolling into, of course, Monday. Lots of snow to the north, lots of freezing rain and ice formations to the south. We'll get to those very shortly, but this is what it's going to look like by about 5 o'clock on Sunday, so you can't miss that. Let's begin with our overnight conditions now. 5 centimeters of snow overnight in Greater Sudbury, -11. Sault Ste. Marie, 2 to 4 in your forecast. Timmins, partly cloudy skies. Temiskaming Shores, 2 to 4 centimeters, and North Bay at 5 centimeters as well. Meanwhile, in Moosonee, wind chill -29 overnight. Caphurst -23 with the wind chill. Wawa, 40% chance of flurries. 5 centimeters of snow in Gore Bay, and Perry Sound another 5. How about those numbers now? Sudbury Nickel Belt, chance of flurries tomorrow -3. Snow and freezing rain late in the day on Sunday. The totals, you won't like them. -6 degrees your expected high. Some sleet on Monday. Snow, rain, and ice forming as well. 3 degrees. -10 on Tuesday. Chance of flurries. -6 Wednesday with the sun and cloud. Shifting on over to Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma. Sunny skies tomorrow -2. Snow on Sunday. That system, by the way, begins in Sault Ste. Marie and makes its way up to Timmins and other areas as well. Loads of snow coming there. -3 your high. Blowing snow and snow on Monday, -6, -9 Tuesday, chance of flurries. Wednesday, cloud cover and -5. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Loads of sunshine tomorrow, -6. Chance of snow on Sunday, -7. Blowing snow and snow Monday, -8. -13 Tuesday, chance of flurries. And Wednesday, some sun and cloud, -7. Chance of flurries once again. Thursday on the warm-up as it gets to a nice -2 degrees for that day. But that's in the future. Long ahead. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, periods of snow tomorrow, -4. Snow on Sunday, -6. Lots of snow coming your way. Monday, sleet, 0. Chance of flurries on Tuesday, -11. Sun and cloud Wednesday, -7. And the chance of flurries, -1 on Thursday once again. And one more turn to have us a look-see at what's happening in North Bay, West Nipissing. A chance of flurries, -3. Snow and lots of freezing rain. Ice conditions as well in North Bay along that Highway 17 corridor. After all, that system begins on Manitoulin Island and moves easterly along that 17 corridor. So -3 your high, and that system will reach you late Sunday evening. Monday, we've got some sleet, 3 degrees, -10 on Tuesday, chance of flurries. And Wednesday, here we go, sun and cloud, -5. How about that pick of the day to kick off the weekend? Yes, two friends of the show, Fanny and Rambo from Chapleau, Carole Valliere. Merci, beautiful pick. I love the eye. And the eyes looking at whatever they're looking at, but they're two great-looking dogs, Fanny and Rambo. Don't you forget it. Coming up, the Strongwoman Championships are over, and we have a local winner in the U57 category. Lindsay Alick will have that story.
If you're planning to get away for March break or maybe this summer, there are certain things you always bring with you on a trip. There is a safety consideration you may not have thought about, and it's why more people are packing something else in their suitcase. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Wherever your trip is taking you, you could end up at a resort or vacation property that doesn't have carbon monoxide detectors. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that can cause illness or even death within hours of exposure. There was a carbon monoxide leak at a U.S. hotel where Chris Hauschelt's parents were staying.
So my parents were on vacation in a hotel when they were found dead in their hotel room.
A carbon monoxide detector could have warned them of the leak. The tragedy didn't end there. 7 weeks later, an 11-year-old boy lost his life and his mother sustained permanent injuries from the same leak. Not all hotels and vacation rentals are required to install carbon monoxide detectors.
CO detector requirements vary greatly by location, and CO leaks can happen anywhere that there's a fuel burning appliance, and that leaves countless travelers at risk.
There are now portable carbon monoxide detectors you can take with you on a trip. There are some that plug in and some that run on batteries. Consumer Reports tested CO detectors you can take with you. Each device was placed in a closed chamber exposed to carbon monoxide and tested for accuracy. This lunar lights quickly sounds an alarm when exposed to both low and high levels of CO and comes with a built-in rechargeable battery. This kit of plug-in, while bulkier, excels at detecting both low and high levels of CO and accurately displays them. You'll find many CO detectors for sale, and you can also use them at home when you're not traveling. After losing her parents, Hauscheltz believes you shouldn't take a trip without one.
That is life-saving to be able to take that action on behalf of yourself and your family.
An investigation into her parents' deaths found the hotel's pool heater malfunctioned, causing the carbon monoxide leak. Pat Foran, CTV News.
A new survey from Nanos Research for CTV News found that 43% of Canadians are less likely to travel to the U.S. in 2026 compared to the previous year. 38% of respondents said they don't vacation in the U.S. in general. 14% said they vacation the same, and just 4% said they are likely to spend more leisure time south of the border. And Nanos expects Canadian tourism will benefit in 2026 with an uptick in domestic vacations. This because of the political climate, tourists prioritizing safety, and several Canadians cutting back their travel budget. And if you're staying in Sudbury this March break, then a fishing trip might be in order. This was the scene at the Countryside Arena last night as the 51st annual John Hazen Memorial Sudbury Game and Fish Pond got underway. Anglers of all ages get a chance to try and hook a trout to raise funds for conservation efforts in the area. The group's vice president says it's a tradition in the city and a great chance to introduce your child to fishing.
We started with 800 fish, mixed speckled and rainbow trout. I think so far we've had 125, 130 fish caught today. So we're down to about 670 fish. There's been another 100, 150 fish caught and released, which we like to see because we're a conservation club.
The fish pond will run until March 22nd. Tickets are $5 for a round, 3 rounds for $10, and for the family, 20 rounds for $50. Many say the secret to a long life is eating healthy and exercise. A man from Toronto might just be living proof. CTV's Andrea Case has that story.
The 60-meter dash at the Canadian Masters Championships. And they're off. 40 seconds later, and the last to cross the finish line was Atar Singh Sikon. Not bad for an old man. How old? Sikon is 102. Through his son, Jokinder Singh Sikon, Atar says he's feeling very good today. Legally blind and hard of hearing, Joginder is by his side as a precaution. He had a busy weekend. In addition to the shot put, he took on the 50-meter and 200-meter race, winning each in his age group at a competition for athletes over the age of 35. But at his age, he's the only one in the 100 to 104 category. Sikon moved to Canada in 1988 at the age of 64 and began exercising in his 70s to stay in shape. But he didn't start competing until 2017 at the age of 94.
He hopes he lives more longer. So long he lives, he will keep doing all these athletic activities.
As a Sikh, Atar says if he is reincarnated, he hopes to return as an even better athlete.
It's easier to raise strong and positive kids than to repair broken adults. If I can do at 102, why not other levels of age people can do these things?
Andrea Case, CTV News.
Well, third grader Rogan Parsons of Sudbury has done something special to honor his mother. Rogan got his first haircut ever last week and has donated his hair for cancer patients. His sister Storm cut off his long braid in honor of their mom, Amelia, who is battling cancer. Rogan says donating his hair made him feel good. He's got a stylish new haircut and has helped someone in need with his donation. A division matchup that needed extra time. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. In the OHL, the Sioux Greyhounds hit the road and take down the Windsor Spitfires.
Hockey This Week is brought to you by Rastall Nut and Bolt Company. As always, we touch base with NOJHL Commissioner Robert Mazuka at the conclusion just before the playoffs start in the NOJHL. Welcome to the program. Glad to see you've got a couple of teams in Sudbury and, of course, Hearst ranked in the top 20. Successful season in your mind? Happy? Not happy?
Thanks for having me, Rick. No, it's been a great season. Excellent finish. Or we're not finished yet, but we're getting towards the finish line. No, it's been a good year. Been a long year. As expected, it's a battle for the top 4, and then Sudbury just recently locked it in, and then second, third, and fourth is a flip of a coin, and it's going right down to the wire.
Now, what I like most about the race this year is that you've got 4 teams in contention for second, third, or fourth. Did you anticipate this? I mean, we saw the positions change from time to time, but right now it's anyone's guess.
Well, the 8th place was just concluded on the weekend, and that was a fight right to the end between the 3 teams, and Kirkland Lake was the victor there. we knew it'd be highly competitive. We knew it would be tight, but this is I would say, a bit of an understatement. It's going, like I said, right down to the wire, and so we'll see what happens this week.
Now, did you envision Sudbury making it 3 league titles consecutively?
Well, they have a good program. They run a good operation, and they're very competitive, and a lot of people want to play for Sudbury. You got a track record of a history, and you got good coaches, and you got a good on ice and off ice programming. So, the bigger centers always seem to attract, and that's no different this year. And let's see if they can three-peat. So it's going to be a pretty exciting playoff. We're all looking forward to it.
Okay, I won't put you out on the limb and say predict a winner, because you can't do that as the commissioner. Got to talk to you, though, about French River. There's been talk about a possible relocation. There's been a lot of talk about the lack of community support. What's the status of French River at the conclusion with only 4 wins this year heading into next season? Will it be French River or will it be elsewhere?
Well, that's to be determined. At this time, we're still not 100% sure of what's going to happen officially. There's been some talks amongst various parties, and we'll see how that all plays out. But at the end of the day, the NOJHL Board of Directors will make a final decision on their status for next year.
Okay, Hearst, Sudbury, are we looking at a repeat final from last year?
I don't know. Playoffs, right? Goaltending. Yes. I always say the hottest goalie. You get down to a last 2 or 3 games out of 7, you just don't know. And I think there's gonna be a surprise or 2, is what I think is gonna happen, and I just don't know which series it's gonna be, but I think there'll be a few surprises.
As only the commissioner can say out loud and on record, Robert Mazuka, the commissioner of the NOJHL, dying to see some great playoff hockey, and if you can duplicate last year's playoff final between Hearst and Sudbury, you've got a lot of things going right in your league. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks very much, Rick.
And we're back with more hockey this week in 7 days.
And last night in the NOJHL, the Sudbury Cubs waited until the 3rd period to turn on the Jets, scoring 4 unanswered. In the final frame, they win over the Sioux Eagles 6-2. Tonight, the Iroquois Falls Storm are in Noëlville to face off against the French River Rapids, and the Hearst Lumberjacks will take on the Powassan Voodoos. Both those games are 7 o'clock starts. The Kirkland Lake Gold Miners travel to Timmins to take on the Rock, and the Greater Sudbury Cubs are up against the Espanola Paper Kings tonight. Puck drop for those games is 7:10. To the OHL, where the Sioux Greyhounds were in Windsor last night for a tight game with their division rivals.
They've got numbers through center, onto the wing for McNosa. Cross-country drive of the net, back to Martin. He'll step into one and shoot and score. First shot on net.
Brady Martin netting his first goal since returning to the lineup and putting the Hounds on the board, but Marcus Mignosa would score the rest of the goals, including an overtime marker for that hat trick. Hounds win 4-3. And overtime, the name of the game last night. The North Bay Battalion would need the extra frame to down the top-rated Brantford Bulldogs. Troops take it 3-2 tonight. The Bulldogs land in the Nickel City to take on the Sudbury Wolves. Puck drop is 7:05 at the Sudbury Community Arena. And the Greyhounds continue their road trip south of the border in Flint to face off against the Firebirds. Game time there is 7 o'clock. Former NHLers and Garden River's own Ted and Jordan Nolan are being welcomed to this year's Little Native Hockey League tournament at the world's largest First Nation hockey tournament. The Nolans will be on hand for a special opening reception and speaking session. There will also be opportunities for photos and autographs, NHL memorabilia displays, and a jersey raffle. This year's tournament runs March 15th to the 19th in Markham. A Northern athlete recently took home first place at the Strongwoman World Championships U57 division. Today, she shares her passion for the sport that she says saved her life. CTV's Lindsay Alick has more.
Brianne Tessier landed on top of the podium, taking home first place at the Strongwoman World Championships earlier this month in Ohio. But life wasn't always this way.
If I could turn my life around from doing 20 Percocets a day for almost 2 years to winning a world championship, it's that's a huge 180. And I just want people to realize that it's possible so that they don't quit, they don't give up, they don't quit on themselves. You know, like, you can do it. You can turn your life around completely. You can literally be a world champion. All you have to do is believe.
Tessier grew up playing sports but stopped when she left post-secondary. She says that's when her addiction began. In 2020, she was introduced to strongman competitions but didn't take it seriously until she became sober 3 years later.
I think we had the regionals in Elliott Lake, and that was the first comp I went to since I was decided to lock down, and the atmosphere was amazing. Like, I cannot describe the strongman atmosphere to anybody. It is so crazy. Like, the vibe, the confidence, the energy in there is unreal.
She won regionals and has now gone on to win on the world stage and has even broken world records.
I did actually recently set a world record for the law, and that one was 167 pounds. I also do hold a world record, the world record for the deadlift, the axle deadlift. So that is 374 pounds. I weigh 125. Like, I'm almost hitting 4 times my body weight.
Tessier says if her story inspires even one person, that is her goal. As for competing, she is preparing for regionals, which will happen later this spring, and she will continue her strong woman journey as long as her body allows her to. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day is ready to be added to his out-of-this-world resume, along with films like Close Encounters, E.T. and War of the Worlds. David Daniel gives us a sneak peek of his latest film in tonight's Hollywood Report.
Hello, Jane. Please, have a seat.
The official trailer is out for Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, and Coleman Domingo star in the First Contact film. Everything will be revealed when Disclosure Day opens in theaters June 12th.
I was so lonely. I was really, really lonely.
I feel crazy saying this.
Outside of here would be crazy, but inside here, where it's safe, yeah. What's crazy about that?
Group, the Schopenhauer effect blurs the line between performance and reality. Actors play group therapy participants alongside a real-life psychoanalyst, with most of the dialogue improvised and actors told to respond differently than expected. The film is in theaters today. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The Canadian economy lost about 84,000 jobs in February. That wasn't what most economists had expected. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
That kicked the unemployment rate up to 6.7%. The majority of the jobs lost were in the private sector. Young workers are feeling this the most. Employment fell 1.7% for Canadians 15 to 24. Both wholesale and retail jobs were lost, and Quebec lost the most jobs in February, followed by BC. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.84. West Texas Intermediate is up another $2 to 98.04. Western Canadian Select up close to $8 to 79.96. And the TSX lost another 298 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $71.92, closing the day at $50.1959 U.S. an ounce. Silver slipped $3.58 to end the day at $80.57. Copper down 2 cents to $5.81, and nickel down 16 cents, ending the day at $7.72 U.S. a pound. And right now, I'm going to bring you the weather forecast for tomorrow. Let's start in Sudbury. -3 degrees and a 40% chance of flurry activity. In through Timmins, sunshine, -6. For Sault Ste. Marie, beautiful sunshine, -2 is your daytime high. As we head on over to North Bay, -3 and a 40% chance of snow flurry activity. In through Parry Sound, -1, there's a chance of snow, and periods of snow, overcast, and -4 for Temiskaming shores. And finally, traditional reindeer racing in Finland is drawing a crowd. These are some serious reindeer games. Raising and caring for reindeer has been a long-time part of Scandinavian culture, especially for Indigenous peoples in the north. Reindeer racing is an organized and regulated competition. This year, the winner of the races was a reindeer named Pom Pom. His owner says he's exceptionally fast and smart. Two great qualities for a race. And folks, that's CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. Thanks so much for watching. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night.